Hey everybody, my name is SergioVengeance. Yeah, you see me playing Battlefield, and I've got a Call of Duty picture and title for the video. Well, I kind of just wanted to make this video to kind of just voice some facts, my own opinions about Call of Duty, and try to put some knowledge behind some of the people that may be interested in buying the next Call of Duty game, which is World War II. I personally don't understand the hype, but in this video, I kind of just want to touch base on a few facts from the past, and try to just let you know, don't let the hype consume you. You know, we've all been there. We've all had hype for a game, and we've been let down. So this video is just kind of voice out some facts and just let you know that there are some things that should not be forgotten when it comes to making a purchase for a Call of Duty game. So if you're here, thanks for watching, and we'll start going into all these facts right now. The first thing I want to talk about today is supply drops. Yeah, you know, it was going to be the first thing up because it's the most important thing in my opinion. Well, supply drops have literally been like the worst thing that Call of Duty has adopted since Advanced Warfare. In a nutshell, for some people that may not be aware, is supply drops have items in them that you can only get from supply drops, whether they're cosmetic items, camos, other stupid shit, and they introduce weapons into them as well. Now, the problem with this system is that in game you can earn them or earn currency to get them, but the amount of time it takes to gain them legitimately takes a long time. There's a way to bypass that by purchasing Call of Duty points, which is essentially a currency that you shell out your own money for to get these supply drops faster. The problem here is that they aren't just normal microtransactions where you just see something and be like, oh, well, that looks cool, I'll buy it. There's an RNG system. RNG stands for random number generator. In this instance, it means that when you make a purchase for a supply drop, you're not going to be guaranteed what you want. So essentially, if you're spending money, say you spend $10 and you want like a gun they added into supply drops, and you open your $10 for the supply drops and you don't get what you want, you essentially just spent $10 on items that you didn't care for. And it's really shitty because these items should be accessible. I'm a Battlefield player, so when it comes to like adding new guns to games, I think they should be an instant and add-on to the game. And you give, if people want those weapons, you put them through challenges, ways that they can earn them by doing certain things in game to unlock them. Different story for Call of Duty. They add new weapons in, and then you get them in supply drops, but the chance to get them is so low that you can spend $20, $30, $40, $50 on supply drops and never get the gun you want. And on top of it, you can spend that much money and get items that you don't want, like guns or stuff like that. And if we talk about Black Ops 3, you can spend $50 and end up with like a stupid ass sword or boxing gloves, items that you never really wanted, and that's just how the system goes. It's a money grab, and I think it's the biggest problem that Call of Duty has right now, other than the casual mechanics and cater to casuals in gaming. I can look past that, but when you start trying to nickel and dime people that badly, it becomes a problem. Now, on the other side of the spectrum, I know there's a lot of people out there that think that it's not so bad. You know, developers gotta eat. But to counter that argument, if I may, these developers aren't going starving, man. Like they make a shitload of money. The amount of generated sales from those games themselves make them enough money, and then they have $50 season passes for DLC for the whole year. Also increased revenue. So it's not like these guys are trying to make a living or trying to keep the lights on. This is legitimately just a money grab. They're just trying to take as much money as they physically can. It's even worse that these games only have a year lifespan because the Call of Duty game is always coming up the next year. But the system's terrible. Now, if it was implemented by like a free-to-play game, like Warframe or any other game that's free-to-play, okay, I get it. The game is free. You're spending money, extra money, to get items that aren't in the game because you pay nothing for the game. But Call of Duty isn't that way. It's a AAA title. You go to the store, you spend $60 for the game itself. You want the add-ons, that's another $50. So essentially you're spending about $110 yearly to play Call of Duty and all the content that's in it. Now they added more guns. You can't get them, you gotta shell out more money for them. And I know the system works. It takes so long to actually legitimately earn this stuff that people are try to persuade themselves that they have to spend money into buying these items, and that's the biggest concern. And I want you guys to keep that in mind, that they're going to add supply drops. They're going to try to nickel and dime you, and it's going to probably be worse than what we've seen in the past. If the supply drop system was generated towards consumers and being consumer friendly, then they would have stopped this practice a long time ago. Because from what I see from the community by watching YouTube videos, visiting forums, that this is a terrible practice that people just don't want anymore, but they keep going it year after year, and some years they actually even lie. So just keep that in mind, which is going to lead me to point number 2 in this video. The second point I want to talk about here is that this game, World War II, is being developed this year by Sledgehammer Games, because it's their turn yearly to make this game. So Sledgehammer, they last made the last Call of Duty game they made was Advanced Warfare. Now Advanced Warfare is where this all started, where they added weapon variants that were better than the base weapons of the game, and supply drops took place. People were spending money to get better versions of weapons to give them an edge in battle, and this is where it all started. This is right back around in the cycle. So it's their turn up. So if you think that they won't do this now, don't be so naive. I mean, we're already seeing the same thing from last year's title. Infinite Warfare has essentially the same thing. They have base weapons. You get different variants of those weapons from supply drops. The variants have different perks, different abilities, which overall make them better than the base weapons of the game. So you can spend money to have a better version of a weapon that someone didn't want to spend. And it all determines on how big your wallet is. It isn't an issue about, well, you can buy them too. It's more so like the morality of it. You know, it should be all around where people are able to get what they want. Where the RNG factor comes in again is that even if you have guys that have big wallets that are willing to spend a stupid amount of money on these items, that one guy can spend $100 and get, you know, weapons that they want, and then another guy can spend another $100 and not get anything they wanted at all, because of the RNG element. So yeah, point 2 is that we're back here at Sledgehammer, back to where this all started. So don't let it convince you. Don't be naive, is what I'm trying to say. Is don't be naive that this won't happen again, because it will. My third point I want to make here is these game developers are lying to you. They're straight out lying to you, man. For an example, Black Ops 3, people were outraged from last year, the year before, with Advanced Warfare, the weapon variants. So they came out and said that they would only be doing supply drops for cosmetic stuff, you know, no weapons and stuff. And everybody was like, alright, that's cool. We won't be so mad. Black Ops 3 comes out, and what do you know? They add in all these new weapons into supply drops, and essentially just saying, JK, you got played. This is where the whole naive thing comes into. Like, you've seen them do this to you in the past. Don't let these game developers lie to you because you want a good game, a good Call of Duty game that's boots on the ground, and there's some nostalgia because it's World War II, and Call of Duty hasn't been in that setting in like years. Like, these developers are gonna lie to you. And they did the same thing with the Modern Warfare Remastered, or I like to say the Modern Warfare Reimagined, that they did. Is they added in supply drops, so they would only be cosmetic items, and then they're adding in new weapons to a remastered game. Weapons that weren't even there, and you can only get them in supply drops. That's pretty ridiculous. Alright, so the last thing I want to say to you guys today is, other than every other point that I've made on this video, look at it this way. Modern Warfare Remastered is the most beloved game in the franchise. It's actually the biggest Call of Duty game that put that franchise onto the map. Now, granted, they remastered it and put it into a shitty bundle with Infinite Warfare to boost sales, but seemingly, some way, they've found a way to destroy that game as well, with supply drops, and they did the same shit that they did with Black Ops 3, that they were going to try to make it only cosmetic only, and then come to find out, boom, there's weapons, supply drops, buy them, this weapon, supply drops, weapons that weren't even in the original game. So, from a nostalgia point, let's look at it this way, guys. The hype for this game may be great, but at the end of the day, Activision has found a way to destroy Modern Warfare Remastered in all of its glory. So don't think for a second that this game's just going to turn back and it's going to be the greatest thing ever. You know, I'm not going to tell you guys to go out there and don't buy it, but I want you to be critical, and I want you to think and lay out the facts in front of you before you make that purchase. Because it's important, because it's your money. Don't let Activision fool you, and don't let them play the nostalgia card against you to get more money out of you. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. If you like what you see in the videos I'm putting out, hit subscribe, leave a comment. Let me know what you think, and other than that, I hope you guys have a good day, and take care.